Hello, everyone. I'm Frank, and welcome to episode 58 of Learn How to Sudoku, where we take very easy variant Sudoku puzzles and we break them down in detail so that you can learn how to Sudoku. Today's very easy puzzle is called Scattershot by Riff Clown, and here are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Place the digits 1 through 9 in each row, column, and box without repetition. Arrow. Digits on an arrow must sum to the digit placed in that arrow's circle. Digits may repeat on an arrow if allowed by other rules. So, for example, these three cells must add up to what this cell is. And these three cells also must add up to what this cell is. So, as in these two cells would add up to what this cell is. And let's just use this as an example. Okay, so say this was 6, 4, and 2. That works as an arrow on the arrow clue because the 2 and the 4 add up to 6, which is what is in the circle. And that's how arrow clues work. And again, remember, each arrow is separate. So basically, this arrow must sum up to what this cell is, what's in the circle, and these three cells must add up to what that cell is in that circle. And those are actually all the rules. If you'd like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now I'm going to get started. So let's learn how to Sudoku. Okay. So where should we tackle this? Because we know there's a possibility of repeats. Does that give us anything? Not particularly. Well, okay. What does each cell have to be at least? Let's specifically say the circles in the middle box, right? Well, this middle box can be either one. These can only be at minimum 1, 2, and 3. If this were one of these would have to be 2, the other one would have to be 3. So one of these would have to be 1 and 3, which adds up with 1 to make a minimum of 5. So this has to be 5 through 9. So that's the same for all of these corner circles, right? Because they all have the same shape, right? So this is 5 through 9, this is 5 through 9, and this is 5 through 9. Well, this can't be 6, this can't be 6, this can't be 7, this can't be 7, and these can't be 5 here. What does that mean? Well, not much right now. 9. Can 8 ever be on one of these arrows? No, because if this were 8, it would have to have 2 other digits on it, which is at minimum 1 and 1, which would add up to 10, which is not a normal Sudoku digit. So this can never be 8, which means where is 8 in this box? It has to be here. So because it cannot be here, it cannot be here, and it can't be on the arrow. So this is 8. Again, where is the 8 actually in this box? Cannot be here, cannot be along the arrow, so it must be one of these two cells. And similarly, 8 can't be here. 8 can't be here because it must be one of those two cells, and 8 can't be along the arrow, so it must be here. So this must be 8, which means 8 has to be, it could be one of these 3, that's fine. It can be in a circle, but it cannot be along the arrow if there's 3 digits along the arrow. So where is the 8 in column 7? Can't be any of these because we know the 8 has to be here. Can't be any of these because we have an 8 here, so it has to be here specifically because it cannot be 8 here, and this is a 5. So therefore this has to be 8, which means neither of these can be an 8. This cannot be an 8, because if it were an 8, again, you have 2 digits adding up to it. And in fact, actually, neither of these can be 1. So that means this is at minimum 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 here. Or actually, it's specifically 2, 3, 4, 5. If you have 2 and 3 on one side, you would have to have 4 and 5 on the other side. But that adds up to 9 already there. Therefore, you would have to have 2 and 5. I guess you could have 2, 4, and 3, 5, potentially. No, they actually... Okay. So this is the same digit, obviously, for both arrows. Therefore, these two arrows must sum up to the same amount. Right? Because if it doesn't, then this cannot be the same sum that they add up to. So this adds up to the same amount that this adds up to. What does that mean, though? So if this is 2, 3, 4, 5, it has to be 2 and 5 together, added up with 3 and 4 together. So this is either 2, 3, 4, 5, added up together, which would be, they would add up to 7, so this could be 1 or 2, so this would be 7 or 8 or 9. Or this is 3, 4, 5, 6 added up together, right? Because, or it could be, no, it cannot be 3, 4, 5, 6. That adds up to 9 already. It would have to be 2, 3, 5, and 6 then. So either way, there's always a 2 and a 3 here, right? You could have 2 and 6 added up to 8, and 3 and 5 adding up to 8, which should add up with 1 to add up to 8 or to add up to 9. Either way, 2 and 3 all have to be here. This can't be 3, though, and this can't be 3. So this cannot be 1, 2, or 3 then. It has to be 4, 5, 6, 7. And it cannot be 9, because if it were 9, well, 9 can never be along an arrow, actually. And actually, because we know 9 can never be along an arrow, we should have actually tackled that. Where is a 9 in this box? It can't be here. It cannot be any of these 3, because again, 9 can never be along an arrow in a normal Sudoku as long as there's more than one digit. So it can't be here, can't be here, can't be any of these. This can't be a 6 actually either. So where can it be in this box? It has to be here. So this is a 9, which means this cannot be 9 and this cannot be 9. Well, where is the 9 in the center box? Cannot be here, cannot be here, because it can't be along the arrows. Can't be here because it can't be along the arrows, so it must be one of these two cells. We also know 8 has to be one of those two cells also, which means 8 and 9 both have to be here. So this is an 8 and 9 pair here. Well, what can this be? This cannot be 3. This cannot be 3. This can't be 3 because, again, out of these 4 cells, there has to be a 2 and a 3 here, right? It's either 2, 3, 4, 5, adding up to 7 for both 2, 5, and 3, 4, or it's 2, 3, 5, 6. Actually, there has to be a 5 here, too. So 5 also has to be one of these cells. This can't be a 5, obviously, because of this 5. This can't be a 5. Therefore, 5 can't be here either. Well, we know this has to be at least a 3. 3 can't be here. 3 can't be here. This can't be 3 because, again, this adds up to 7 or 8, and 3 plus 7 or 8 is not a single digit. So this can't be 3. Neither of these can be 3 because, again, they add up with 1 and 2 at least. And actually, it's specifically 1 and 3 with 1. So therefore, it has to be at least 5. So therefore, this must be a 3. Now, 3 and 4 add up to 7. 3 and 6 add up to 9. And 3 and 7 don't add up together to anything. So this can't be 7. Well, we now have a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quintuplet in row 5, which eliminates 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 from the rest of the row. Therefore, this is 7 or 9, can't be 9, so it must be 7, which makes this a 9. This is 3. This can't be 8 anymore, which means one of these two is an 8. Which means 8 has to be one of these two cells, right? Because 8 has to be one of these in columns 4 and 6. And it has to be one of these two in columns 4 and 6. So the rest of column 4 and 6 cannot contain an 8. Okay. In the center box, where is the 7? It has to be here. So this is 7. This is then 5 or 6. One of these three has to be a 4. Actually, also, where's the 1 in the center box? Cannot be here anymore because of this one. Can't be any of these. Can't be any of these, so it must be here. So this is a 1. Um, 7 has to be one of these two cells here. Where is the 5 in? Well, no, never mind. 5 could be either of these. This is 5 or 6. So because of that, these digits, okay, well, this digit can be 1 or 2, but it cannot be 3 or 4. And if it were 5 or 6, if this were 5, that would force this to be add up to 1 at most with 2 digits, which is not allowed. So this can't be 5. So this is 1 or 2. This could be 2, but it cannot be 1 or 3 because of the digits that are already in place in the row and the same box. If this were 4, this would have to add up to at most 2 with 2 digits, which is not, and they have to be unique digits, so therefore it cannot work. So this would have to be 2. Then this is 2, which means this can't be 2. This must add up to 1, 2, or 1, 3 to add up to 5 or 6, right? Because, yeah. So therefore, this has to be 1, and it has to contain a 2 or 3. This cannot be 1. And it could be 2, 3, 4. It cannot be 5, because if it's 5, this would, oh, well, can't be 5 anyways. So this can't be 3 or 4 because of the 3 or 4 here. Therefore, this must be a 2, which makes this a 1, which makes this a 3. Therefore, this must be 6 because 1, 2, and 3 add up to 6. So this is 6, which means these can't be 6. This can't be 6, so this is 4, which makes this a 7 because 3 and 4 add up to 7. Therefore, these can't be 4. These can't be 4. It must be 2 and 6 added together and 3 and 5 added together, which means that adds up to 8 for each, which plus 1 adds up to 9. So this is 9, which makes that 8. This can't be 8 anymore, so that forces this to be 8. Where are the 9s? Okay, so where is 9 then in this box? It cannot be any of these cells. It can't be anything along the arrow, again, because 9 can never be along an arrow if there's more than one arrow, one digit along the arrow. And it can't be these, a normal Sudoku. So this, again, has to be an 8, 9, 8, 9 pair here. So this is 8 or 9, and this is 8 or 9. This can't be 7, obviously. So now, let's see. 9 can be either of these two. That's fine. 9 can be any of those 3, so that's fine. 7. Where can 7 be in this box. Can't be here. Can't be here. If it were here, the problem is it would have to add up with two other digits to add up to 7 itself. So this can't be 7. This can't be 7 because of this 7. So the 7 can only be here. So this is 7. This can't be 7. One of these two could be 7. It's possible. This can't be 3, so this must be 6. Therefore, these 3 digits must add up to 9, so this must be 2. Which means this cannot be 2 or 6. It has to be 5, which forces this to be 3 to add up to 9 also. Remaining digits here are 1, 4, and 9. And 9, again, cannot be along the arrow, so therefore this must be 9. And this is 1 or 4. 1 or 4 adds up to 5. And so this must be 3 or 4. Well, it can't be 3 because of the 3 already there. This actually has to be a 1. So this has to be 4, which means these 3 digits add up to 9. So this is 9, which makes this an 8. 7 can no longer be here because if this were 7, it has to add up with 2 other digits, which would be at minimum 1 and 1, to add up to 8, which does not. 7 plus 1 plus 1 adds up to 9. So this cannot be 7. Therefore, this is a 7. This has to be at least 3. So what could this be? This could be 5, or it could be 2. It cannot be 1 or 4. So this is at least 3. What other digits could it be? It can't be 4. If this is 4, you need these two to add up to 5. And we know these already add up to 5, so that's not possible. So this cannot be 4, and it can't be 5 or 6. It can't be 7, because if this is 7, this is at minimum 1 and 2, which would add up to 10. So this has to be a 3. So this is 3, and this is either 1, 5, or it's 4, 2. What are the remaining digits in column? Do we want to do 5? Let's do here. This can be 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. Obviously, this can't be 6, but either of these could actually be 6 here. This is 1, 2, 4, 5 here. This is 1, 2, 4, 5 here. You cannot have 1 and 2 by itself along these arrows, because then the other one would have to have 4 and 5, which would add up to 9, which neither of them can be. If you have 1 adding up to 1, 4, so say this was 1, 4, this could be 2, 5, and that could be 1. That actually does potentially work. This can't be 1, this can't be 2, or 4. Oh, that's interesting. Remaining digits here in row 3 have to be 2, 4, 5, and 6. So this can't be 2, this is 4, 5, or 6. This at minimum has to be 2 and 4, which adds up with the minimum to form this actual value. So if this is 2, 4, this is 1, that adds up to 7. And that's the minimum value, so it has to add up. So it can't change anything to add up to anything else, to use other digits. So this has to be a 2, 4 pair. This has to be 1. So the 2, 4 pair eliminates 2 and 4 from the rest of the row. So this can't be 2 or 4. This can't be 4. This 1 means this can't be 1. Interestingly enough, so this has to add up to 7. If this is 5, that doesn't work. Because if this is 5, this is 2 at minimum. So that's 7 already with another digit here. So this can't be 5. This has to be 1. Which means this can't be 1. This has to contain a 5. Well, 4 and 5 can't add together on an arrow because you have to have, that would add up to 9 at least, which doesn't work. So therefore, this has to be 2 and 5. This 2-5 pair eliminates 2 and 5 in the rest of the column and the rest of the box. So this can't be 2 or 5. And this can't be 2 or 5. So this is 4, which makes that a 2. This 2, 5 adds up to 7. So it must add up with 1 to make 8. This 4 and 1 adds up to 5, and you add a 2 to it to add up to 7 here. This can no longer be 8, so this must be 9, which makes this an 8. This is a 2-5 pair. If this were 6, this is at minimum 2 and 6 added together, which adds up to 8 already, and we have another digit here, so that doesn't work. So this cannot be 6. Well, now we know where the 6 is in row 7, so this has to be a 6 because it can't be here. So this is 6, which makes that a 5, which makes that a 6. This, what can it be? This is 3, so this must be 1 and 5 or 2 and 4. That adds up to 6. This has to be 1, 5 and 2, 4. So that also adds up to 6 then, right? Because this can never be 1, 2. That would force that to be 4, 5. And this can never be 4, 5 because it always adds up to 6 here. So that therefore this remaining sum must add up to 6. So therefore, since this is 6, this has to be 8. This has to be 2 then. To add 2 with 6 adds up to 8. So this is 2. And now we probably just do Sudoku. So 2 cannot be here. Where is a 2 in column 5? It has to be here. The remaining digits are 5 and 6, and they can be still either of those. So this is 5 or 6. The remaining digits in column 1 are 3, 4, and 9. This can't be 9, so therefore this must be 9. This has to be 3 or 4. This can't be 3 because of that 3, so this must be 4, which makes that a 3. This 4, we celebrate because we know we're getting close to finishing it. So this 4 makes this not a 4, so this is 1. And it must add up with 5 to add up to 6, with the 2 adding up to 8. So therefore this is 2. This 5 means this has to be 2. 2 and 4 add up to 6. Which adds up with 3 to add up to 9. So therefore, this is 1. We have all the 2's now, actually. What about the 1's? We have all the 1's. 3's. We have the remaining 3 has to be here because we have 8 3's. So this is a 3. The 4's, we don't have all the 4's. This has to be a 6 because that's the only digit remaining in this box. So this is 6, which makes that a 5, which makes that a 6. The only remaining digit in row 2 is a 9, so this is 9. These have to be 4 or 5, but they could be either. The remaining digits here are 4 and 5, and this can't be 5, so this must be 4, which makes that a 5. Which makes that a 4. And this has to be 7. So this can't be 4, which makes that a 5, which makes that 4. This remaining digit has to be a 6, so that's a 6. This remaining digit has to be a 5. This remaining digit along row 8 has to be a 7, so this is a 7. That leaves the remaining digits in column 7, column 8, and column 9, which have to be specifically 6 and 5. And that's how you solve it. Yeah, pretty cool use of arrow splitting. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to say how this was broken down. You are very limited by the arrows, particularly the circles, right? Especially with this many digits along the arrows. That's how you were able to sort of figure out how to break in things, right? Yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the solve, and I'll see you next time on Learn How to Sudoku. Take care.